Right, welcome and good evening once more again. Just apologies for the late start. I had a bit of a delay with the connection, but now everything seems to be sorted. Please, if you do lose me at any moment during the webinar, just click raise hand. It will flash out my screen that I'm losing you guys or I've lost connection or anything like that. Okay. So last week we did a bit of background on the Elliot wave theory. So we covered some patterns for the benefits of those that do not comprehend the Elliot wave theory properly. I hope you guys went through the webinar and are now familiar with different patterns. So as I always say, Elliot wave is all about identifying the patterns, understanding their behavior, understanding where they form, and also understanding how they interlink with each other. Okay. So today I'm going to look at a couple of charts. I'm not going to go through any theory. You guys have seen the way I analyze the market. So I'm just going to go straight into the chart. So the chart that I have currently is the chart of pound yen. Okay. So the pound yen pair, this is what I'm looking at on this pair. Just going to clear it out and show you what I am looking at here. Right, so let's just get the mess, all the mess out. So what I always start with whenever I do my analysis is to identify the impulse and then the correction, okay? So here we can clearly see that GBP JPY, and this is a daily chart, right? So this is the daily chart. This GBP JPY made an impulse. So I'm gonna change the color for a correction. Just making this correction, okay? So this correction, I can label it, I'm gonna label it a W, right? So I was actually expecting to have a X here. So it does not have to be a zigzag. Remember we discussed a number of patterns last week. So this could be your X, and then we can have a big Y. So what this will do is this. I'm gonna change the color just to go on the higher degree than this. Actually, this whole W is this pattern. Is this pattern here that you can see? That's your W, and that is your X. And as you can see, the X is not completed yet, right? We still need to go up and then go down. And then we will complete this blue pattern, which may look like if it breaks this top here, this pattern will then be possibly, if it breaks the top, then this will be a running flat or an expanding flat. Okay, so we need to see whether it's going to break the top here or not. So if it doesn't break the top, it will possibly be a regular flat. But we know what we are looking for. We are currently here on this green degree. But lower than the green degree, there's another degree as well. Just want to see which color I can use here now. Let me try use the white. So under the red, we've got this degree that is doing this here. And you see the white. So the white is where I am looking for a trade at the moment. So this white needs to complete our X, okay? So you need to understand what these patterns are doing. So our white pattern needs to complete the X. So just remember, this is where we are. So if I had to label this, I'm gonna bring on my labeling that is labeled properly. So you will see that this pattern is labeled W in red. This pattern is labeled X in red. And obviously that will have been a Y here. Then we'll get a nice WXY expanding flat pattern, correcting this swing here. Okay, so I'm gonna clear everything out and bring out my original analysis that I have blanked out here. Okay, so you can see what I'm looking at here. So this is the analysis. Nothing has changed here. This is still my impulse. Okay, change color. Correction, WX, Y. You do it properly. W, X, Y. So this is this W that we're looking at. The W's in blue. Forget about everything else that you can see there. We're looking at the W's in blue. All right, so these W's in blue are making this pattern, right? So you're gonna have another pattern. So this W in blue, this whole pattern is represented by this outer W here, okay? And then we get this other pattern. So what I was actually expecting here was that this was gonna go all the way there in a straight line, but it doesn't go in a straight line, okay? So this is what it's doing. Let's change color. It needs to complete this move, okay? But lower than the red degree, we've got another degree that we need to look at. So we're gonna use the green color. Last time, or when we were still looking on the higher time frame, or I didn't change the time frame, I actually used the white to show you where I am looking for a trade. So this is the white here. So even the white, it is still here, it has not completed yet. So we need to get to this point. So we know that the direction currently needs to complete the down move before it completes the up move. Okay, so let's go look at that down move now. So, but before we do that, I just want to label this for you. So this is your W. What is this W representing? This whole pattern is a W. This whole pattern. And then the X is representing this whole pattern here. That is your X. Okay, see how it is? We're going to trade the patterns. And then after the X, we're actually expecting a Y. And that will complete that expanding flat that we're talking about, that will break this top. We don't know how far, whether it will break it right there, or it can break and just reverse. So the blue line that I've got there is where I am expecting the break. So anytime after it breaks there, I'll be expecting a reversal. Even better if it gets into the blue box. So I'm gonna clear out everything and we go to the trade. So this is where I'm looking at. Remember the white degree, we were here. So now if you look closely here, this white degree, can you see that this is an impulse? Let me use it with the same color that I used previously. This was the white that I used. This is also an impulse. And this impulse is also being corrected. Let's change color, go lower. This impulse is being corrected like this with this green. And I can see by the way this retraces, this one is retracing only about 50% of this one. So which tells me that I'm expecting a zigzag. So I'm expecting a zigzag here, but has this zigzag completed yet? Not yet. So let's look at something here. Let's clear out. So this is the zigzag that we're looking at. So this zigzag I know is not completed yet. I'm gonna go to the 4-hour time frame. Just loading the 4-hour. So this is what I was talking about. This is where we are looking for a trade now. I'm gonna draw again so that it can be clear. This is that white impulse. I'll keep drawing it in white. It is that white impulse. It's just that now it is now on the 4-hour chart. So this is that white impulse that we were looking at, and that impulse has done this and has done this. And this retracement, if you go and measure it with a fib, it's about 50%. Okay, actually it's about anywhere around 61% area. So if it retraces anywhere between 50 and 61%, I actually expect a zigzag to form. So that's what I'm expecting here. I'm expecting a zigzag. So how is this zigzag going to complete? It's going to complete here. So what am I expecting? I'm expecting equal legs here. How am I going to trade this? If you're not already on this trade here, rather maybe wait for this to get to the blue box in this area. So this will be your trade here. So it is actually, there's still a lot of pips to go before we get to this blue box here. There's still about another, we are currently on 44, and this blue box starts at 42. So anywhere around the 42 area, I'll be looking to buy this thing. Okay. So that is what I'm looking at on the pound. I'm not looking to buy it just yet. So if it gets here in this level, we are buying in anticipation of the completion of the larger, remember the larger one. See, so we're going to let it go down here and then we buy. So, you know, you've seen my charts. I always take charts with a lot of pips, with a number of pips. So these short ones I'm not really comfortable taking these short ones. So I will just wait for it to hit the blue box. And those who know how to use the fibs, you'll see if you take your fib tool from here to there, this is about your 50 to 61% area. So it also confirms that this is a nice buying area for pound, for pound yen. So that's what we're looking at today. Okay, so that will be your trade. So if you want to enter this and you have not entered it yet, so this is what you can do. If you get any sort of pullback, if I go to the 1 hour chart, but it will be a risky trade because this trade has already gone. Okay, so it's kind of forming a flag there. It has already formed a number of flags. See, whenever it makes a flag, it goes down. Whenever it makes a flag, it goes down. So now it looks like it's going to make another one. So if you get something like this, just keep selling. Just keep selling until you get here. And here, what you would expect is an impulse move up. And then a correction. This will tell you that we are ready to go now. And then you can buy it. So that is GBP JPY. All right, I'm going to clear out everything now. I'm loading Euro US dollar. I'm going to load Euro US dollar. Okay. So Euro US dollar last week, if you watched last week's webinar, maybe if I can just switch everything off, go to the daily. We were actually anticipating the pullback that happened during NFP. So the guys in my premium group already shorted Euro US dollar even before the results were announced. Okay, so let me just show you the way we're looking at Euro US dollar. Let's go to the weekly because we always have to do a top-down analysis, but this is just a repeat. If you want to see the proper top-down analysis on this pair that I did last week, just go to last week's webinar. So what do I do? Identify the impulse. That's my impulse. Looks terrible. Restore it properly. That's my impulse, and then we start the corrections. So when I look at this, I see this pattern. If you looked at the last week's webinar, you'll know that this is a regular flat. Does not break this top, but breaks the A, B, C. This is a regular flat. And then there's this zigzag here. There's this zigzag here. And in between there, there's this pattern that looks like a zigzag. And if you were to label this whole red will be your W. And that W is represented like this. It's representing the red pattern. And then the yellow one will be the X. That's your X. And the whole the other zigzag is represented by a Y, which means this was completed. And now we want to see what is going on here, which is what we did last week. See how simple this is. Just identify the patterns, we label them. This is a regular flat. This is a zigzag. This is a zigzag. They are combined. It's a double three correction. Okay, clear everything. Let's go down there. We're going to look at this now here. I'm going to go to the daily to look at that one. Okay, so this is where we want to look at. The reason, just to show the reason or what we are looking at in this pair. So this was the impulse. Change the color for the correction. Which one is this pattern now? If you watched the webinar last week, you know which pattern this is. Does not break the extreme low, and does not break the A either. We can call it a regular flat. It's more or less around the A area, so we can call that one a regular flat. After that, get another pattern. It looks like an expanding flat. Okay. So if I have this pattern, so this one, I'm going to label it a W. It's my first pattern. Okay. And this one, I'm going to label it a X. So obviously after a double X, I'm expecting a Y. I'm expecting this one to do that. So if this is this pattern, this is a running flat or a regular flat here. It looks like a more like a regular flat because it does not break the extreme. And I've got what looks like an expanding flat as well. I would be expecting this to make another pattern that looks something like this. And the reason why I'm expecting a zigzag here, the reason why I'm expecting some sort of a zigzag is because this impulse move is very strong, and the retracement, I'm sure it's not going to be that strong either. We may retrace to around the 50% area, the 50% of this one, because of this move. So that's why I'm already expecting a zigzag. It could have been any correction. Remember, you can have a combination of any correction. So this is what it's going to look like. See the WXY. Okay, so last week we've been calling for the pullback on this pair because of this. Look why. Your W is representing this whole pattern. Your X is representing this whole pattern. Your Y is representing this whole pattern. And now what is this pattern? As you can see, the extreme has been broken here. And the W, which is also normally the A, has been broken here. So we're expecting an expanding flat to complete here, that yellow pattern. So this is why I've been calling for a pullback, right? We didn't say we're going all the way down on Euro US dollar because if for those who trade lateral supports and resistance, they would have thought because this is like a monthly or a weekly trend line support, now it's time for this thing to reverse. Okay, it will reverse. It will reverse, but that's not the reversal that will take us all the way back. So what we were looking for is a pullback, and you'll see this pullback nicely on the 4-hour chart that has already happened. I'm going to go to the 4-hour. So that pullback is based on the pattern that we want to complete. So we already have a move down. Let's just bring in the labeling. You can see. So last week, premium group, this pair was here. This pair was here, and we said we are going to short it because we are expecting that pullback. So that pullback can get back up to this trend line to complete our X move, and then complete that last move that we are looking for. So if you want to see that move again, just on the daily, it should be something like this. Should be something like this. To break this trend line, I'm not expecting it to go all the way down. We may come down to this main one here to complete this X. And then this will just do like this one to go and complete this blue Y. This blue Y there. Okay, so that's why we were calling for the pullback, and we made a couple of 100 pips during NFP. All right, so that is the Euro US dollar. Let's look at Euro. Let's look at US dollar CAD. Or maybe before we do that, let's just look at what we're looking at with the Euro US dollar. We actually have a short trade currently, as I've just said. Go to the lower time frame just to get a specific trade there. So the idea with this one, because now we're looking for that pullback. Let's remove the arrows. If you haven't entered yet, you still have an opportunity to short it whenever you get the flags as well. Whenever you get these flags or pullbacks, up until something changes. So actually send this one in the free group this morning to sell the break of this flag. So when this flag breaks, you can sell. I'm on the 1 hour chart here. So you could get about, I'm anticipating it to get to around 1.15, which is about 200 pips, or just under 200 pips. So you can get this trade on Euro US dollar, the short trade. Right, pound US dollar. Let's look at pound US dollar. I'm loading pound US dollar. So pound US dollar, exactly the same. All the US dollar pairs, we traded them exactly the same. And we were not trading them because we knew what the NFP results were going to be. We were trading it because we were trading the patterns. And the charts was telling us that it was time to sell. And we did just that. I just want to bring back my indicator. Seems to have disappeared. Let's put it back on. Okay, there we go. Right. So the pound, if you look at it on the daily time frame, you see that we had an impulse there. Let me take these patterns off so that it can be clear. You can see that we had this impulse shown by these arrows. It was an impulsive move and it was being corrected. And after that, I spotted a leading diagonal in wave A. Okay, you need to read what a leading diagonal is. This one complies to a leading diagonal. So this is what we have on the pound. We've got that impulse, first of all. All right, and then after the impulse, change color, we get wave 1, wave 2, which is in 2 degrees, which is in 2 waves. Wave 3, also in 3 waves, ABC. Wave 4, 3 waves as well. Wave 5, 3 waves as well. Okay? So last week, just before NFP, this pair was completing wave 5 of a leading diagonal. This pair was here. It was here. And we thought also, because we had this A, B, C, we needed to get to the blue box where we're going to sell this pair. So we actually shorted the pound from this pair, and we are already now just over 200 pips on this pair. And we are going to write it down all the way because this is wave 5. If this is wave 5, let me just clear everything. Of a leading diagonal, if this is your wave 5, just want to show you something. This leading diagonal is one wave. And that wave is a wave A. As I said, the whole diagonal is a wave A. So what happens after you get a wave A? You need to get a wave B, and wave B is normally in 3 waves. So this is why I'm anticipating this to make us about 1,300 pips. Okay, so this is my target here on the pound. So It's not gonna go down in the straight line. We're gonna go down and then we're gonna get a deeper pullback somewhere. But we're already in the trade and we're running it for about 1,300 pips. It's going well so far, 200 pips up on this pair, just because of trading this leading diagonal and understanding the market. If this was your B, then this will be your smaller A, B, C, right? That's how we're trading the pound. Okay, so if you have not entered the pound, go lower, let's go lower, 4 hour. So this is the leading diagonal. And this is the trade that I posted again this morning for those that have not entered yet. I'm gonna go to so the rationale is still the same. What you do is you always, whenever you get the flag, so this move actually happened on Thursday after some news event. Can't remember what it was because I don't really trade the news. Because I knew that when it hit my blue box, I was going to be selling it. So this move happened on a Thursday, but after the Thursday, it did this. So it was giving an opportunity for those that missed the move up here. Okay, so some actually took it here, and then market open from this morning, early this morning. It was also giving us a flag, and we were looking for this flag to actually sell and ride with it. So you had 3 opportunities to sell this thing there, and there. So here it's not too late. You can still actually enter this trade now. So just remember here, I'm not giving specific trades. I'm just giving you an overall direction of the market and market overview for the week ahead. Specific trades are posted in the premium group, and I do send some chat on our free Telegram group as well. Okay, so that is pound, which is we are bearish on currently. You can see after this flag is actually making another flag, so it's still bearish. What's next? US dollar CAD. I've spoken about this for the last 2 weeks. Okay, let's go 4 hour on this one. Okay, so US dollar CAD. Take off all the drawings. Actually, daily first, so you can see what is going on. This is what we have here. Put up the drawing. We have the impulse, and we've got this whole correction. And I've indicated this correction last week. I'll just show you quickly. That's the one pattern. It is a regular flat, does not break the extreme, breaks the A, right? And then we had another zigzag, undo. Undo. Okay, and then in between, use a different color. Let me use a different color for this one. You can see there's a zigzag there. See there's a zigzag there. So you can see we've got 1, 2, 3 corrections. And in between them, there's yellow sub-corrections. I usually call them sub-corrections for lack of a better word. So these ones that are sub, they are in the same direction as the impulse. Same direction as the impulse. The main corrections are opposite the impulse, opposite the impulse, opposite the impulse. So this is a classic case of a, let's label it. The first one is a W, this one. And the yellow one is also, the yellow ones are always X's. Next one is a Y. The yellow ones are always X's, Z. So this correction is a WXYZ, and we know in the Elliot wave theory, we can only have a maximum of 333 corrections. That is 3 corrections in combination. So after that, what we expect, when this is done, we expect the impulse to continue. So we had this impulse corrected, and then after it is finished with a Z, we know if you can get a Z, there's only one way, and that is the prevailing direction of the trend. So this is why we are short on US dollar CAD, and last week we were on about 1,200 pips. It has now retraced a bit, a few about 200 pips, which is okay because we want, my target is actually 115, 1,15 on this pair. That's about another 1,000 pips, more or less. So any retracement on this pair is not a move up. It's actually giving you an opportunity to sell it. So I'm just going to go to the 4-hour and show you how you can trade this up move. So we actually took it right at the top. Now it's pulling up. So we actually identified this move during NFP because we knew the US dollar was going to be strong. So what you can do is with this flag, wait for it to break, sell it, and then you go with the momentum. So this pullback is only giving you an opportunity to sell. And I can show you what this has done before. So that's showing this side. So let's go look at the other impulse that we're looking to continue. So you can see this one, we're getting a pullback, a deeper pullback here. It always does, it was doing exactly the same this side as well. Whenever it gives these deeper pullbacks, you see these ones. Whenever it gives these deep ones, goes down, right? So look at this one, deep one, keep going down. So don't let it fool you. You keep going down. Deep one, you keep going down. Deep correction, we keep going down. So any move up is only giving you an opportunity to sell if you're a swing trader and you trade for many pips like me. Unless you're a day trader or a short-term trader that is just looking to take advantage of the short market moves, you can actually buy this one. We actually took this trade just for during the NFP on Friday because we knew that it was going to go up and we're going to have a bit of an impulse on this one. But if it does this, if it breaks this trend line, we're selling it. We're continuing with the trend. It just needs to break this flag and then we carry on. You can still get this many pips here. Okay, that's US dollar CAD. US dollar chief. Okay, if you've got a pair that you want us to discuss, please type it on the chat box. Somebody just type it on the chat box and then I'll look at it once I'm done with the pairs that I'm looking at right now. Okay, so US dollar chief, it's easier to see it on the higher time frame, what we're looking at here. And we're already trading this one for many pips as well. Let's go to the weekly. Okay, so this pair is very interesting. It's got a very clear structure. As always, what do we do first? We identify the impulse. This is the impulse. I'm not going to mark it again. You can see that is the impulse and it is being corrected here. Okay, but it is being corrected by what looks like a wave A. This is a wave A. Why do I say that? I actually spotted a leading diagonal in wave A again. We were just talking about a leading diagonal on GU, pound US dollar, that we traded. Okay, so similar to this one as well. And the rules of a leading diagonal is that all the waves are separated in three. I mean, they are all three waves. So wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4. I'm expecting a wave 5. And then we go down. Okay, so these waves, I'm just gonna change the color to show the internal waves. These three should be in 3 waves. The one must be in 3 waves. So here, you need to be clever. You need to spot these things. You need experience to see that this was a 3-wave move. Okay, and you can see that that was done by fundamentals. You see this, 1, 2, 3. So even fundamentals, these spikes, they still complete the patterns that we are looking for. That is why I trade the charts and not the news. See, 3 waves in wave 2. Wave 3, same thing. Got 3 waves there. Traded it. wave 4, sorry, just draw this clearly. Just change the labeling, draw it cleanly. Wave 3, and wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. Okay, internal ones, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So what was I expecting here? I was expecting a 1, 2, 3 as well. So this is the current move. This move here, the A, B, C. It always does A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. So here I was on A when we spotted this leading diagonal and we were trading the up move B. So let's clear it and see how it looks without all this painting on that. Okay, we bring the labeling. Let's take off all this. Let's clean the chart a bit. So we are in a larger leading diagonal, but we can trade it internally. Okay, let's go to that wave 3 to 4 because that is where we are. We're actually anticipating that this wave, this will give us an A and then a B. This is the daily. I've actually posted this trade that we're going to be buying US dollar chief around this area to complete that wave B. If you go down lower to the 4-hour chart, I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart now. If you remember, this is that from 3 going down to 4. That's your 3 over there. Still there, right? So now we are pushing up. That is the move we are anticipating, and the NFP even helped further with the move up. So this news just helps to complete these patterns. So we had this move up, which we were anticipating because we wanted this B to be completed before we go down to the 4 and then the 5. Can you see how many trades we still have ahead of us? We still have the 4, we still have the 5, and then after the 5, we know we're going all the way down. So that's the nice thing about the Elliott wave method because it is forecasting. Okay. So with US dollar chief, what you can do for now, because you can see that this move is not completed, we still need to go up. I'm going to go 1 hour and show you a trade there that you can take. It has already made an impulse. That's the impulse, and it is now correcting. Okay, so this is what you do here. I already said this before, saying that you must break. Last week, actually, I said you must sell the break of this flag. The break of this flag. It has been broken and it's correcting again. If you haven't bought it yet, you can break it. You can buy it for this short move. It's not going to be long-lived. That's going to be a B, and then we're going to have this move up, down, to the wave 4, and then 5, and then down. So that's the trade you have in the next couple of days. Maybe tomorrow this could be breaking up to complete that move. Or it may not even go straight. What you can do is go, correct, go, and then it completes the move that we're looking for. That is the B. Okay? Right, so that is US dollar chief. New Zealand US dollar. I discussed this one last week as well. We load it up. We actually made pips. We were actually short on this one. Looking for the pullback same pullback that we've been calling since last week. So that's that pullback that we're looking for. And let me show you why we're calling for that pullback. So this is New Zealand. Actually cleaned a lot of people out this pair because a lot of people, similar to Euro US dollar, some thought because this is like a weekly, this is a weekly trend line. And we were expecting a reversal here, which never happened. And I'll show you why, again, why we never got that reversal. Okay, so this is what is happening. If you look here carefully, you would see that we had an impulse there. There was an impulse. And after this impulse, we're getting an A. And then we're getting a B. And then a C. Okay? And this C, again, we saw a leading diagonal. Leading diagonals only happen in wave A and in wave 5. Okay? So here is why I said this was a leading diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4. After 5, what happens? We go down. The pair that I was just discussing now, I said US dollar chief. US dollar chief is at number 4 now. Okay, so we're actually looking to complete number 4. But this one is already completed the 5, and then it's already completed the B as well. We have not even completed the B on the US dollar chief. So there's still a lot to trade there. We're still going to trade the move down if you like to trade corrections. But obviously, if you're trading corrections, you must be targeting these impulses, because you can see that corrections take long to complete. So if you're going to trade this move, just look at how long it's going to take you, how many days it's going to take you. It's going to take, here it took from October of last year up until April of this year, because it's a correction. But look at the impulse move. The impulse moves just they move quickly for many pips. So you need to know when to trade the impulses. Okay? So we've got a leading diagonal, but not only just the leading diagonal, but look what this pair always does. It always makes an impulse and then a correction. You see this one? Another impulse here, and then a correction. Another impulse there, and then a correction. And the sequence, it just keeps doing the same thing. And then, if you were to look at this as one wave, that whole wave A, do you not see that it is doing exactly the same thing, but now in the higher degree? Sorry. The same thing, but in the higher degree. Impulse, and then a correction. So what are we expecting? We're expecting that this swing will behave exactly the same way as this one. So we thought we had this impulse, the same way we had this impulse here. This is this one here. What happened after this impulse? We had this correction. And then when it was broken, we went up. So this is why I was calling for a pullback here. Maybe a pullback that will do something like this. Let me do it clean. It's getting messy now. So we're expecting this pullback, which is already started, maybe something like this, similar to this. I would not be surprised if it does exactly the same as this here. And then if it does and give me a proper pullback there, if it gives me a proper pullback there, I'll definitely be swinging on this one to complete that wave C. Okay? So that is the current trade is to short this pullback. This is the pullback that we're looking for. We're not saying that it's going to go all the way down. We're just saying we're going to get a pullback, and it has made an impulse, and I'm expecting that it will have this kind of move, even though it's not exactly the same, but it could behave fractally now. Okay, I'm just going to put back on the labeling. So here, the only thing you can wait for, if I go down to the lower time frame, you need to wait for, if you want to hop in on this sell. And you can see it's already breaking this trend line. It's already breaking that trend line. But that doesn't mean that it's going to go all the way. So breaking the trend line doesn't mean it's going. So this can just keep on doing this, giving us a deeper correction. And if it does that and it breaks, we're buying here to complete that wave C there. Right, for now, you need to wait for smaller pullbacks. Go to the 1 hour chart and find something like this, keep selling it, maybe up to about 50%. This is the one, this the swing, maybe up to 50% or 61%. That's where we're going to be buying this one. Okay, or we can even get to the trend line again, which I don't think so, which is highly unlikely. So it can go from there. Okay, that's how you're looking at New Zealand US dollar. Okay, gold. We discussed this in the last two webinars. If you go through to the last two webinars, we discussed this one in detail. Okay, let's go daily. Gain. So gold, as you can see, as always, impulse. That's the impulse, and then we started correcting. Just look at the yellows, W, X, Y. So I'm expecting gold to go around 1,400. And it doesn't go in a straight line. And at the moment we are going down, we're getting a pullback that we were looking for. So let's look at gold. If I just join up those yellows, you see that? You see that? I would be expecting it to do this yellow zigzag. And if we go down a degree lower on gold, the red one, just look at the red ones now, I get another zigzag. This one is so clear. It's just trending in zigzags. So the sub, remember the sub goes in the same direction as the impulse. Same direction as the impulse. Is this one in red again. By which, can you see this pattern is this? This was a zigzag, but this one does not break the top, but breaks there. You can call this a A. W can also be a A. It depends on what it is representing. Whether underneath it is 3 waves. A has got 5 waves in it, and if it's W, then it's only 3 waves in it. Okay, but that's the detail that you get when you do the training on Elliot waves. So this pattern can be irregular because it just slightly breaks this one here. You can see that it does not break it all the way. So this is a regular flat. Okay, so here I don't know which pattern it's gonna be, but all I know that we need to complete the Y. Okay, but where we are right now, if I were to draw the red one is supposed to behave something like this. Okay, so this would have been my W, X, Y in red. You can see that this is in the same degree as all the reds, eh? Same degree as all the reds, same degree as all the reds. Under the red degree, there's also the green degree, which I can just do as well here. So you can do this forever. Under this one, green degree. Under this one, WXY in green. Under this one, WXY in green. You see, it's just WXYs, WXYs. And last week, I actually said that we want, if you look at this one, WXY. I said we want a deep pullback. Why was I looking for a deep pullback? Because I was looking for this. Because this red W actually completes this green WXY. So this is why I was looking for this pullback, and now we are in a pullback on gold. So as you've seen, we are on a pullback on the Euro US dollar. We are on a pullback on the US dollar CAD, but on to the upside because the dollar is, as far as I'm concerned, temporarily strong for now. We are on a pullback on US dollar chief, New Zealand US dollar also a pullback, gold also a pullback. So they're all behaving the same way. In any case, they've got the dollar in it, in the pair. So we would expect them to behave the same way. Okay, so that is what we're looking for. We're looking for this pullback. If we look at gold, that the gold on the last two webinars, you will see that we've called it exactly the way it has behaved now. So now we're looking for this pullback. After that pullback, need to complete, and I'll be holding all the way up to 1,400. Doesn't go in a straight line, so you need to know when the market turns. You need to know how these patterns are behaving. Okay, so let's look at the next chart. Next one is the Audi. Audi is exactly similar to New Zealand. Let's clear everything. So Audi, a little bit interesting. What do you have there? Your impulse is there. And after the impulse, you get in correction A, B. This is your A, and this is your B. Underneath the B, there's a pattern. There's a pattern. Which one is this pattern? Does not break the top. Just slightly beat the A. Yeah. So this is a regular flat. So after this regular flat, we're actually thinking that this was going to be a triangle, but it invalidated the idea of a triangle. So we know now that this pattern was actually only 3 waves. So now what we would have expected is that this will do an A, B, and a C. Okay, but you can see that that C is not happening in a straight line. Underneath that C, there's this red. Okay. And we're expecting a pullback in this area in the blue box. Okay. So we're expecting this pullback here because this is a new string. It's independent of this. This has completed. The A, B, and the C has now completed. So what could happen is you can get this to pull back to around this area, and then we get there, this move there. That's Audi US dollar. There's no real trade here on Audi US dollar that I'm holding. So the next one, so this is similar to all the other pairs, Euro, New Zealand, gold, US dollar chief, US dollar cat. It's all similar. We're looking for pullbacks now. These are not the impulse moves. We had the impulse moves. Now we're looking for these corrections before they move up. Okay. Let's come back home to US dollar ZAR. US dollar ZAR, I've discussed this last week. And when you know what the market is doing, you don't panic whether the market is going against you for that specific period or not. All right, so where's the impulse? You guys are now tired of this now. You specialize with this now. We've got the impulse, and then after the impulse, we're getting the correction. Look at this correction. Zigzag. And then there's that X in between, which is in the same direction as the impulse. Impulse. So the X goes in the same direction as the impulse, and then we get another one that I'm expecting to do this, and then this to go around the 11 area. I did this from last year already. From last year already, I knew that ZAR was going to 11 Rand. We knew this when ZAR was still at 15 Rands. So this zigzag is labeled a W. The yellow one is always an X, the X, and then this will be a Y. So this is what I'm expecting. After this, only then will I look for the Rand to do this, the big move, the 23 to the dollar that most people are looking for. It's not ready for that yet. Okay, for now, from last year, we've just been selling the ZAR. Okay, so that is on the daily. So you can see how clear this pattern and why am I expecting this? What am I expecting on this pattern? So what I was expecting there, if I go green, let's go green color. So I was actually expecting this pattern to do something like this, come and break this top and then go down. So this is why I was not panicking when the ZAR was going up. Even if I said that, I actually said that we were going to get a pullback on the ZAR, anticipating this move. The last 2 weeks, we were anticipating this move. Okay, let me bring on the labeling. So that is what we're looking at the ZAR, US dollar ZAR. Let me clean it up a bit. So I would not be surprised if it does this and completes this move, which breaks this top. I would not be surprised, but that's the move that could possibly happen. And that will be our W and our X. And then we go down there. But currently we are here. Let's go down to the lower time frame, to the 4-hour, and just look at this move here to see what is going on and what pattern can develop there. So this is where we are. Last week we were here. I said we must get a deeper pullback. I didn't know that I didn't think it was going to be this deep up to around 78%. It retraced up to about 78%. Okay, now it's breaking. Okay, so now we already have confirmation that this is not going up. It's not going to break this top here because it has already made an impulse. Next couple of days, what we'll be looking at is for it to give us a bit of a flag, especially on the 1-hour chart, and then we move down with it. This will be a nice entry point. I don't know if it's going to go all the way from here or if this pattern is going to form somehow. But for now, if we get an opportunity to sell the US dollar ZAR, I'll be selling it. That is US dollar ZAR. And my favorite pair is Audi New Zealand. Load Audi New Zealand. Okay. Let's go to the weekly chart. Right. So here you can see once again the impulse. This time we've labeled the impulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as it complies to the rules. After 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's a correction A, B, C. But this B is correcting in doubles like this. So we've got our impulse, and then we've got our A, and then now this B is in double. See, we've got two patterns in B. We've got this one. Now you guys know these patterns and how they behave. This one does not break the extreme, breaks the A. And then we've got this one that has not completed, which I'm expecting to do this. In there, this one goes in the same direction as the impulse. What do we call those ones? X. So I've got 3. So I've got A there doing this. Okay, let me do it with a different color. So I've got my A and then a B in 3 waves. And we know B is always in 3 waves. But under these 3 waves, there's other waves, 3 waves, 3 waves, lower degree. You can see how clear this WXY is here on wave B. Okay, after this, if it gets here, if Audi New Zealand can get to around 1, where it just breaks this, I'll be selling it for some time, for a couple of pips. That is up to 1,16, which is about 1,600 pips, targeting here to complete the C. So that's how I'll be looking at this one. If it gets here, that's a lot of pips to make. That could be the trade that can rescue most of the accounts if you have been on a negative. So watch this trade, keep an eye on it, mark your charts. Keep sending me updates on it. If you want any explanations, I'll gladly do so. If you're in the premium group, of course. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. But last week, let me go to the daily. I want to look at this area where I want this zigzag to complete. So last week, this is what we had here. We had this, we were on this one, on this impulse. We go to the 4 hours, just to show you what we said last week, because obviously that trade is still very far. We cannot wait for a couple of weeks without trading. So that trade was actually still far and we needed to wait. So what we have currently is this impulse. Okay, after that impulse, we get, sorry, make clear the old drawings. Let's get the pen out again. So we get this impulse, and this impulse does something like this again. That looks like a wave. Let me draw it cleanly. Does this, and then it corrects. I'm just going to use a different color for the correction. Impulse. Right? So this impulse is an impulse of a correction wave A. So then it does this, and it did this. Last week, when we did this webinar, this pair was in around this area. And we said, if you go through to the webinar last week, we said we want this pattern to complete. It has broken the A, so we didn't know what it was going to behave like there. It can either be a running or an expanding. So this is what we expect. We wanted it to come and at least break this. Okay, it could have reversed without breaking, and then it would have been a running flat. But now it broke. Now it is a clear expanding flat. So now we just need to look at the divergence to see if this thing is ready to turn here yet. As you can see, we've got strong divergence on the pair. We've got strong divergence. Okay. So I'm not expecting a move up on this pair to last. Okay. I'm expecting this to go down to my anticipated buy area. So while I'll be making money going down, I'll still be making a lot of money if it reaches my target area. Okay. Next pair. I will look now at, which one can we look at? Let's just look at Audi Chief. Audi Chief, need to look at it on a higher time frame. There's also a leading diagonal on wave A there. This is the higher time frame. Switch off all the drawings. There is this leading diagonal. If you can see here, it's a leading diagonal. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And after the 5, remember, this whole leading diagonal is an A wave. And after an A, we are anticipating that we will get a B wave. You know, B wave is in 3, right? So this B Under the B, obviously, you would have a lower degree, A, B, C. So this one does not look like it's completed yet. It looks like it's making a flag now on the 1 hour chart. I'm just gonna go to the 1 hour and look to this specific area. And we're gonna wait for it to tell us whether it's ready to come down to the B yet. We're gonna look at divergence. I don't see any divergences yet. So, and I can see a flag there, which is a continuation pattern, which tells me that we should have another push higher. Maybe when we get this push higher, it's gonna start diverging. But for now, there's no divergence. So it can do that, it can come. This will still be the extreme, right? It will still be the extreme for this pattern. It can break it and then become expanded. I don't think a running, but I think I'm more inclined to an expanded flat that will come down here. Okay. Put back the drawings. So that's what we're looking at here. If I just go down to the lower time frame to look at this flag, this X is not completed because we have not got an indication that it's about to reverse, not even divergence. Let's look at the 4 hour. So in the 4 hour, it's even making a flag in the 4 hour chart, it's even making a flag, which is possibly telling us that this move still need one more push higher before it reverses. Divergence, nothing. No divergence. So we may get another push higher. Yeah. That's Audi Chief, Audi CAD. Let's look at Audi CAD. So Audi CAD has got a strong divergence. I'm anticipating a move down. You can see now all the Audi pairs, we're anticipating them to reverse in the near term. Let me go up to the higher time frame on this one, just to see why we are looking at it the way we are. Okay, I'm not gonna go through the whole analysis, but we had this impulse and then we had this correction A. With this impulse, and then now we are in the correction A in yellow, B in yellow. That will give us this C, which I don't think is completed yet. So this is why I'm anticipating that this flag or this uptrend, when it's broken, then we'll get this trade as well before we can actually get a move up. So I actually did a detailed analysis on this one. Let me clear all these drawings. Similar to US dollar CAD, this pair gave us a WXY. Where the impulse, and then we started the corrections. First one, expanding. Second one, zigzag. Okay. And then we had this subs in between. Subs in between. Okay, so now we are currently on, let's get this one out. We are currently on this one that looks like a Z. It may do something like this. So we've got 1, 2, 3 corrections. And you know what I said about getting a Z, a 333. So when we get a 333, we know there's no other correction that's going to come. So when we get to the Z here, this number 1 is represented with a W. The sub is always an X. Number 2 is a Y. Number 3 is an X again because it's in the same direction as the trend. If we get here, many pips to the upside. So many pips because this trend will need to continue and making us a big A, B, C. See there, A, B, C, a big zigzag. So these patterns just keep growing and growing. If you're going higher degree and lower, you can always drill down and get even lower patterns when you drill down to the lower degree. So that is Audi CAD. So Audi CAD, if I just clear the markings and put back the drawing up and go to the lower time frame. We want this to complete the Z here. So this is why I'm not looking to buy this pair just yet. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. So the reason for that is this. This is going up. Get the pen out again. This is some sort of an uptrend, but look what is happening to the indicator. This is a clear case of divergence. As much as this is going up, but the momentum, there's no momentum to the upside, which is telling me that it is about to reverse. It's not telling me that it's reversing, it's telling me that it is about to reverse. So we may still reverse and get the completion of that Z wave, which is where we'll be looking to buy. So keep this one in check. Keep an eye on this one for a down move. But if we do complete this down move, which will complete this purple Z, so many pips to the upside, similar to US dollar CAD. Okay, next pair. I think this will be the last one. Pound US dollar we already did. Pound CAD upside as well. We're looking upside on this one. We're not gonna do a detailed analysis on this one. I'm still looking for upside based on this. If you look on the daily, if you look on the daily on this one, it's got a clear wave count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. So on this one, the CAD, it has already broken out of the B correction. So we're anticipating a couple of 100 pips on this one. We're already 300 pips on this one after the break of this one. Okay, so you can see there's a clear impulse there, which is labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of a diagonal, A, B, C. Okay, that's how easy it is. Another one is pound JPI. We actually called for the move up before the NFP on this one as well. Switch off everything. So this one is a very nice, interesting pair. If you go to the daily, I've also shown what is happening with this pair as well. It's got a very nice daily structure, a very clear impulse. Here's the impulse. After the impulse, the usual. So we do the same thing every single time. See the zigzag? Look at this one. It's a correction, but it's in the same direction as the trend. What are we expecting? We're expecting another pattern here to complete, but we don't know which one it is. It can come and retrace and not break this top and do this. Then it can be an expanding flat. It can retrace 50% and then go, and then it will be a zigzag, or it can do this. It can come and break this top and then carry on, and then this will be an expanding flat. So we already have this W representing this one. We already have this X representing this one. We shorted it here when it broke this uptrend. So we've been on this trade from here because we knew that this pattern was completed when we were breaking down. But this pattern has now started. We know that whatever pattern it's going to be, whichever pullback is going to be, whether it's deep or shallow, or it's 50% to 78%, or it breaks this top, we will only sell it when it breaks this correction to the downside to complete. And when it completes, we label this is a W, X, Y. Unless it makes a Z again and does this. Whether it's going to be here or whether it's going to be there, when we get to a buying area, we're going to be going in for many pips. Okay, so that's how we're looking at Euro US dollar for now. For now, we are just what I said from the last 2 weeks. I said you must just keep selling the 1 hour flex. I'm going to look at this 1 hour swing here on the 1 hour. Just show you what we've been doing ever since we sold this pair. Now we're getting a deeper correction. So this is what we've been doing the whole time. Since we sold, every time it makes a flag, we sold. Every time it makes a flag, we're selling. Here it makes a bit of a deeper one. We keep selling. It makes another one, we sell. It makes a deeper one, we still sell. See, every time it makes a flag, we sell. It makes a deeper one, we still sell. Here now it's making a deeper one, which I think may go a bit higher. So here it made an impulse. It is making this correction. We may get something like this, and then that will be an opportunity to sell if we break this trend line. Okay, and then to complete all the way to 104. My target on this one is actually 104. That is if it does a zigzag. Okay, but for now, that's what we have on US dollar JPY. Any up move is an opportunity to sell for now. Okay. Which one is interesting? Which one else is interesting? I think, let me just check to the chat box, see if there's a chat that anybody has requested. I see nobody has requested. Somebody has requested, there's a lot, US dollar New Zealand. I've never done US dollar New Zealand. If somebody is requesting US dollar New Zealand, I'll just have to do it for you a bit later. Okay, USD JPY I've just done. Euro New Zealand I've not done. Okay, let me just do Euro New Zealand for now. Let's look at Euro New Zealand. So Euro New Zealand. Okay, we've already read more than an hour, so I'm not gonna. All right, so I'm gonna leave the chat as I had labeled it before on Euro New Zealand, and I'm gonna make the adjustments with you guys here. So Euro New Zealand, we had this impulse here. Okay, so I thought this correction was finished here, but actually it was actually making a bigger correction. So this was the X. Then we had this one here. So if you look at the lower degree, what this page should do. So what you would have here, we had this impulse. When I remove this labeling, this is what I'm talking about when I say I want to make adjustments on this one because it has changed the structure. So it does a 1, 2, 3 waves, which is a W. 1, 2, 3 wave, which is a X. 1, 2, 3 waves, which is a Y. But this does not look to be completed yet. Okay. So this is what how we're going to trade this. So we know the direction is still up. The up move is not completed yet. Let's clear everything. So we'll be expecting a bit of a retracement. And then this up move is completed. When it is completed like that, then we'll be looking to sell this thing. And that will give us a 1, 2, 3 waves. Okay. So for now, no specific trade on Euro New Zealand. Okay. That's how we're looking at this one. Still upside, not completed, but we're still gonna break. We're still gonna need to break this trend line here. Let me check another pair. That will be the last one. The rest that we did not discuss here, we'll discuss or send during the okay, EuroCAD. Let's just look at EuroCAD quickly. That will be the last one. Let's look at what we're looking at there. EuroCAD. Right, let's look at this one. We've got an impulse, and you can see that this impulse ended with a sort of a diagonal there. Let me clear. Right, so we've got the impulse all the way up there. What does it do after the impulse? Right, so that is a zigzag. I can call it a Y. Underneath it, you can call it a W, X, Y. There's a reason why I labeled some XXY, some A, some ABC, some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just need to understand why, when to use which. Okay, so we had that correction. It looks like this correction is finished. We are now on a new swing. So what you would expect on this one, if you're looking at the red degree on this pair, red degree, it's too red. Red degree is a pullback. It's a pullback on this one. And I'm on the 1 hour chart here. Pull back on the 1 hour chart, on the 1 hour. So pull back to the trend line. That will go up. So what will that do? That will give us an impulse, W. So an impulse. And then we've got this WXY here. Impulse, WXY in red. And then that impulse starts the new trend here. Continues. After this correction, we get this trend. Okay. Sure, I went well over the 1 hour that I budgeted for. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. The webinar will be available. Will be available as soon as it is processed. Thank you very much and have a good night.